Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, the Speaker of the Assembly, who's also running for governor. Dick Gammick has the rundown.
That's right, Sam. Today we have Assembly Speaker Richard Perkins to come in and talk about the upcoming legislative session and the possibility to run for governor, plus some other things. Stay tuned.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Jason Geddes, Ray Bacon, and Alfredo Alonso. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Where do I want to go?
Me? Denver.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Atlanta. Vancouver.
Chicago.
We can help you get where you need to be or want to be.
Yankee
Reno
Stadium.
Tahoe International Airport. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anywhere.
Minneapolis.
St. Paul.
Over 170 daily
Houston.
flights, non-stop service to 19
Washington,
cities and connections
Elko.
everywhere else. Reno Tahoe International Airport, dedicated to moving you.
Jupiter.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment. This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And it's a great pleasure to welcome to the broadcast the Speaker of the Assembly, Richard Perkins. Pleasure to have you here, Mr. Speaker.
Pleasure to be here, Sam.
All right, let's start out with the topic that came up late last week, which is the subject of a lottery. For years, the casino industry has said we don't want to have a lottery, we don't want the competition. Now you, along with other leading Democrats, are proposing one. Why the change?
Well, I think Nevada's ready for a lottery now. I think the public is ready for it. We've got folks that move here from all over the country where they've experienced a lottery. And as well, the gaming proliferation throughout the country. Most of the major gaming casinos in Nevada today that opposed it in the past do business in other states where they've already got a lottery. So it's something that they're familiar with.
But what are they saying to you? Have they been calling you up in horror going, what?
Well, I haven't gotten many calls about it. I don't think it's something that they want to look forward to, obviously, but I think that they and their families and their employees and their families as well want a better educational system, and that was the genesis for the lottery.
Well, I guess the bottom line question to that is, there's a lottery in California, the money goes towards education. How has that benefited California? Has it?
It has. It's benefited California. It's benefited most other states where a lottery has been instituted and earmarked for education.
Expect a call from the governor if you do this. Sure, he'll be calling. And speaking of governor, let's take a look at, your name's been bandied around as a possible Democratic candidate for the governor's race that's coming up when Governor Gwynn comes out of office. Where are you on that?
Well, right now I'm focusing on this upcoming legislative session. I think it'd be inappropriate for me to look past that. We've got a lot of challenges that face our state. But certainly, if and when we make that decision, it will be my first choice is to be governor, not my second choice, as the congressman has kind of stated in the past.
Okay, we've got less than 2 years to go now. When can we expect Richard Perkins to make a decision there and some kind of announcement?
Oh, I think it'd be very, very soon. I don't know that I have a specific time frame, Dick, but it'll be very, very soon.
Okay, let's do as we did with Congressman Gibbons and presume. It was in the Las Vegas Review-Journal today that Sean Sinclair, Senator Reed's campaign manager, is coming on board with you. If you do get into this race, Senator Titus also wants to get into this race. Have you two spoken to each other about, how divisive a primary might be?
Oh, I think it's obvious to folks that a contested primary becomes very, very divisive. But again, if and when we get into this race, I'll be looking forward to a general. I think we'll have to find some way to make sure that there's not a contested primary.
There's not a contested primary?
Correct.
And how would you negotiate that?
We'll have to wait and see.
Something new just came up this time, and you've become very involved in it. Could you kind of take a minute just to explain what is this infrastructure committee we're hearing about, the new committee that's been formed down at the legislature?
Well, going door to door over this last campaign cycle, the hottest topic with all the folks that I talked to was growth in Southern Nevada. Growth is not just a Southern Nevada issue. You see those things here in Reno, and we've got it in Lyon County, Elko County. So we don't create new committees lightly. The last time we did this was in 1997, and prior to that, I don't remember when the last time we created a special committee. But I thought it was important enough an issue that we create a special committee for this legislative session to address the growth issues facing our state. And those are many. The property tax issue is just going crazy, so we need to find property tax relief. The water issues that face us, the cost of housing, the infrastructure in terms of our roads and that sort of thing. Transportation is a very, very hot issue. So that's why we've created this committee to kind of house all those issues in one spot.
Okay, what are some of your initial thoughts on this? For example, the property tax. Do you favor a cap at this point? Because I know that the school districts are very concerned that a cap would hurt them tremendously.
Well, we need to make sure that essential services are provided for. The property taxes in most counties provide for public safety and education. Those are very, very essential to our citizens. But I think that with the rising costs of the values of homes now, it's just killing people. We need to find some relief. So it's going to be a very, very fine balance in how we provide essential services, but yet make sure we take care of our citizens.
Senator Titus has proposed a temporary freeze. Are you in favor of that?
I'm in favor of getting this fixed before we ever need a temporary freeze. And we have about 60 days in the beginning of the session to accomplish that before we have to discuss a freeze.
Yeah, you've taken an unprecedented step here, as far as I can find out, as being the Speaker of the Assembly and also taking over the chair of this infrastructure committee. How's that going to work out? Don't you, as the Speaker, kind of officiate, referee between different heads of the different committees when things come up, and you're going to wind up refereeing yourself?
Well, I do referee a lot of the committee chairs and the issues that come up, but I think it just puts a stronger stamp of importance on this committee for the Speaker to chair that particular committee. It just speaks to the very importance, again, of the issues that are going to face us that come in front of that committee.
Jim Gibbons has been hit with comments that education first is just a ploy to get publicity for him for his campaign for governor. Are you concerned that heading up the infrastructure committee would do the same thing for you?
No, I think there's more risk than there is reward, frankly, in chairing this committee. There are a lot of major issues facing the state, and they may not be resolved in some people's favor. So there's much more risk than reward in my chairing this committee. I just think it's important enough to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Okay,
let's take a break. We'll come back lots more with Mr. Speaker right after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
Siegfried and Roy presents Darren Romeo.
There's magic in his voice, and there's music in his magic.
Brilliant young talent like this is very rare.
The music of the night. I'm Darren Romeo.
Thank you. Unbelievable. Wow. Fantastic.
Dinner and show package from $27.95. Call the Eldorado at 786-5700.
hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Ken Dillon, owner of Van Dyne Roofing, can get it fixed with his eyes closed.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers with Speaker of the Assembly, Richard Perkins. Taxes. We raised a lot in the last session. We wanted to raise about $850 million. Now we have an $830 million surplus. The Nevada tax, and that was confirmed by Chairman Washoe the other day. The Nevada Taxpayers Association says almost $1 billion extra in taxes. First of all, are you surprised about how big that surplus is? Second of all, what do you think we should do? Should we be rebating it back to the public, or should we be using it to solve some of the social ills we have in the state?
Well, I am surprised, frankly, Sam, that the surplus is as large as it is. We needed to diversify our tax base, the revenue structure that we have in the state. It was broken and had been for a long time, and I think we accomplished that last session. But nobody dreamed of the robust economy that we're going through right now, and it's a blessing, frankly. But I agree that with the governor that there are a number of things we need to take care of. I think he's going to earmark some money for education and some other things like that. But ultimately, with that largest surplus, the money belongs to the people, and they should get some back. There's no question about it.
Okay, do you look, excuse me, Dick, do you look at, because if you don't change the way the tax structure is right now, we're on track to do the same thing again, you know, in the coming years, because if everything stays in place, even if we rebate money, we're not fundamentally altering the way we're collecting taxes. Are we collecting too much?
Actually, that's not the case, frankly. When the legislature convenes to create a biennial budget, we're constrained by the amount of money that the Economic Forum says we can spend. I think the Economic Forum's projections will be much more robust because the economy is robust. So that doesn't necessarily equate into a large surplus at the end of the next biennium. It just means we'll be, as you mentioned earlier, it means we'll be spending more on education, taking care of mental health, and looking at those sorts of things. If the money is more than we need to take care of the essential services for the state, then certainly we need to look at restructuring down in our tax structure.
Will there also be some consideration paid to rainy day fund? I mean, if at home, if you have a few bucks left over, you look at putting in your savings account. Are we going to do that at the state? Maybe make that rainy day fund a little bit heftier.
I believe we will. We spent it right down to almost zero, I think, in the last legislative session, and anybody who's been here for any length of time knows that our economy cycles, and we have our up times and our down times. So yes, we need to have a rainy day fund in that, and make sure that that's a real strong rainy day fund for the next time we have a down cycle.
Yeah, the governor's talked about $175 million. Senator Washoe was talking about close to $200 million. Do you support that?
I do support replenishing the rainy day fund. What the level it needs to be, I don't know yet. I will rely on a lot of our fiscal staff, but you know, let's look at the size of our budget, take a strong percentage of that, and make sure we've got a strong rainy day fund.
You know, in the last session, there was a lot of discussion about people who are working in their jobs and also working at the legislature, and you came under some scrutiny for that. At the time, it looked as though you were going to resign, or retire at least, from the Henderson Police Department and devote yourself full-time to politics. You've been quoted as saying that financially you can't afford to do that. What are you going to do during this session that perhaps may be different from last session to show people that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing?
Well, first let me just tell you, I've spent over 2 decades of my life putting bad guys in jail, and I make no excuses for that.
I didn't do it.
I make no excuses for that. And I've enjoyed serving the public in the legislature as well. So the 2 jobs that I work, I just love both jobs. Part of my decision was financial, but part of it is I wasn't going to look at the scrutiny I was under and say, I'm going to get out of the public safety business in Henderson. I enjoy that. I keep my community safe, and I again, make no excuses for that. But what I'm going to do different this time is I'll just take my annual leave to the extent that I've got it and go on a leave no pay basis this time. Focus on the legislature. Will I still look at things in the police department while I'm up here? Absolutely. I think it's important to our community down there, but this time I'm just going to donate my time to the department instead of getting paid for it.
Now, the Hatch Act, which I don't believe in, because that excludes people from government who are in the federal government, which doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the way it is. How are you going to work with the Hatch Act this time? Because that also raised its head, I believe, for you this last session. It
did, and we're still in discussions with the federal government, the Office of Special Counsel on that. They are dead wrong on this issue. Less than 1% of my budget comes from federal funds. I don't administer them. I don't apply for them. I don't supervise anybody who does. And they're absolutely dead wrong on this issue, and it ultimately will prevail.
Okay. You know that also Assemblywoman Sheila Leslie ran into this issue too, and she's been a tremendous asset to this state. She ran into the same issue with this Hatch Act. Old law.
Well, it's an act, frankly, that's being misapplied. Right. And when you look at a state like Nevada, when we have a citizen legislature, and it's basically the federal government telling us, you can't have a citizen legislature. So we'll win this argument, no question.
And who's paying for the legal fight here?
I am, actually. I'm paying all the legal bills. Actually, it would astound you if I were to tell you how much they've amounted to at this point.
Please feel free to.
Just suffice it to say it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, if you believe in it, I guess it's worth the money. Speaker Perkins, we will appreciate you being here throughout the session, and we'll be down in Carson City for the last month of the session, so we hope to see lots of you. And good luck in your new positions here on the Infrastructure Committee. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Siegfried and Roy presents Darren Romeo.
There's magic in his voice, and there's music in his magic.
Brilliant young talent like this is very rare.
The music of the night.
I'm Darren Romeo.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Wow. Fantastic.
Dinner and show package from $27.95. Call the Eldorado at 786-5700.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And a great pundit panel, as always, today. Ray Bacon, Executive Director of the Nevada Manufacturers Association, Alfredo Alonso with Lionel, Sawyer, and Collins, and Jason Geddes, a former Assemblyman. Welcome to all of you, joining Dick Gammick and myself. Okay, Ray, I want to start with you. Now, these numbers, these surplus numbers, $830 million, according to Senator Washoe, perhaps as much as $1 billion, rather, from the Nevada Taxpayers Association. Now, you're a conservative, but you're also a man very interested in education. Should we be using this to help education in a big way?
Well, let's go off in a slightly different direction on this thing. Let's talk to some numbers that will scare you. It should scare people in the state of Nevada. The growth rate in southern Nevada is effectively winding up with the 4,000 acres that were released by the federal government for land development went for $2 million an acre. That effectively means that the density you are requiring of people, if that was the only land available, is 18 people to the acre with nothing taken out for infrastructure. That's not what people want to live on. So somehow, as part of this equation, to lower the land value, which is really the piece in property taxes that's going up, you got to go figure out how to get more money out of the federal government, or more land out of the federal government, because that solves the problem. Here's another little number that'll scare you a little bit. Invest, the program that the school superintendents are pushing, looks for $640 million a biennium to bring in full-day kindergarten and all kinds of improvements. That's $640 million if you could sell off 320 acres at the current going rate in southern Nevada, funds the program for a biennium. Considering the federal government owns about 62 million acres of the state, 320 acres doesn't seem like a big chunk.
Alfredo?
Well, I think, as Speaker earlier indicated, that I think a lot of people were surprised by the numbers at this point. I think that, personally speaking, I think it ought to go towards education. We're at the bottom of the list there, and I think that there are some things that we can do to help there. Obviously, this is not something that we can expect to continue, but diversifying our tax base was very, very important, and I think we're getting there. We're still, Money Magazine just came out and indicated that Nevada is number 4 lowest in the country in tax. So I think that Nevada's still in a very good position business-wise, and if we have some surplus money, I think it ought to go to education.
I'm curious as to why you say you don't think this can continue. What do you see in the forecast for the turndown in the economic future of the state of Nevada that's going to turn the numbers down if we don't change the structure and do something different?
You know something, Ray? I hate to say this. I really hate to say this. But a 9/11 type situation would be the thing that would turn the economy, because that was so devastating to Nevada, and God forbid that should happen again. But if that did, it would be again devastating.
We're a tourist economy. I mean, obviously we can't forecast, but we also can't control issues like 9/11.
And we have to deal, and I'm really interested to see what happens with the Growth and Infrastructure Committee and what they deal with and going through the Senate. Is when you talk about limiting and what's going to be limiting the business, it is going to be the educational system and the quality graduates we can put out. And if you look going into that budget, there's $300 million in just roll-up with the new students coming into the system. And then you talk infrastructure and the roads, the highways, the waterways. We have a very old infrastructure system on the base system in the state that needs to be rehabbed and repaired. And going forward, the new growth and the expansion is in terrific shape, but the core system that is feeding that will need some repair, and I think we need to put some revenues there.
Ray, you did duck my question, which is what do we do with this surplus? Do we give it back, or do we use it wisely?
There's a very interesting proposal that came out from a taxpayer that I think was exceedingly interesting and much better than the giving back rebates on the DMV. The current database that we have that's probably the most accurate is the voter registration database. So you reward good citizenship by giving back, about $300 a voter. It's the same number.
Go for it.
Hey, I keep hearing, whenever we have these sessions, throw more money, throw more money, throw more money at education. Where does accountability work into this?
Well, that's got to be part of the pitch.
Seems to be going to the back of the deal.
I agree with you.
And the other thing I've noticed, too, is, in all fairness to the state of Nevada, a lot of other states include their capital improvements as part of their education budget, and the state of Nevada does not in a lot of cases. So no wonder we wind up at the bottom of the realm, because we're not including all the dollars spent on education.
And not at the bottom, and And yeah, not at the bottom realm, but it is that point exactly. We need to put more money into education, but we do need the accountability. I'll tell you the frustrating thing last session is in the Assembly Education Committee, we never had a discussion on accountability and what we would be getting for the increased dollars if we're putting more money into it. What would we expect to see back in a plan? And you need to have that out there. I mean, I'm not one for cutting them off until we have a plan. We need to keep funding them and funding them to an adequate level, but we need to make changes in the system to make it work.
Jason, the good part of that is that both the chairs of the education committees are gone. They both lost in the primary, and I think, 15 years of non-performance, well, the two of them were chairmen of that, may have something to do with it.
Well, and again, I think both these gentlemen are correct in the sense that we have to have accountability. That has to be the case, but we're not talking about just education. We're at the bottom of the rung on mental health spending, which ends up costing the hospitals and in turn cost the taxpayer a heck of a lot of money as well.
Bob
So I
Beers
think
has suggested throwing in
exactly
$50 million.
Senator Beers has suggested that, and I think that those are the types of things that we need to look at as our state grows, because what's happening is, as you said, we could have a 9/11 tomorrow, but that doesn't stop the people from coming into the state, and we have a lot of seniors coming into the state. So that demand keeps growing, and so we may have a surplus today, but that may not be there tomorrow.
Okay, I got one last question here, is on this idea of a lottery. Alfredo, are your gaming friends going to be in support of this, as the speaker thinks?
To be honest with you, I don't think it's
Stations already has come out and said that they're not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks that still have a problem with it. I think it really depends on what comes out, what's on the table, and what that lottery entails. I don't know at this point. I haven't seen the plan.
It just doesn't seem like a responsible solution to the problem out there. I mean, to go out there and just count on people buying lottery tickets to fund education just does put money in the problem without addressing the accountability or what we want to get out of that system.
Contrary to what the speaker says, if you go through and take a look at the lottery's actual funding of education state by state, in almost every state they have underachieved the initial estimates.
And that's where we have to
I'm not
leave
sure
it.
that that's the right solution.
And that's where we have to leave it. Part two. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Yogi Bear used to say, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
That sounds like something you'd say, Bob. Have you ever done that?
Possibly. We make important decisions every day.
Yeah, choices on the road give us both direction.
Directions 2005 takes place Friday, February 4th at the Reno Hilton. Leaders from across the nation and around the region share their insights during Northern Nevada's largest business forecasting event. Chart the road for tomorrow at Directions 2005. For tickets, call 337-3044.
Where do I want to go?
Me? Denver.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Atlanta. Vancouver.
Chicago.
We can help you get where you need to be or want to be. Reno Tahoe International Airport. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anywhere?
Minneapolis. St. Paul.
Over 170 daily flights, non-stop service to 19 cities and connections everywhere else. Reno Tahoe International Airport, dedicated to moving you.
Jupiter.
As always, we love to get your emails at newsmakers@kvbc.com and newsmakers@krnv.com. Dick, who's coming up tomorrow?
We'll be looking at Assembly Majority Leader Barbara Buckley and Senator Bob Beers.
Should be a great show. We'll see you then.